Alright, peace fam. Thank you for joining us. You see I'm sipping on the ambrosia smoothie. Don't know which one I like best. Make sure you tune in today. We're going to be talking about some principles of sustainable living, right? The sustainable revolution. So we're going to look at some of that, alright? See you in a second. Peace. Oh, you caught me. Hold on. Alright. So, we up now. Oh, good grief. Modern technology is perfect. It's beautiful when it's working, right? Alright, so I make this announcement real quick. Injected racial scripts. We got brother Wakesa coming in town on August the 11th. It's gonna be a dynamic workshop. Make sure y'all there. Of course, y'all know I'm gonna post this up on. I'm just gonna pop up somewhere right around here so that y'all can see this. All right. So make sure you're in the place. I'm gonna be big up in it all the way up until then. We gotta keep it moving, keep the training going, family. Right? So, y'all know, some of y'all heard my little vision about the whole farming piece. You know what I'm saying? Y'all seen me eating the greens and stuff, right? So I'm going to the library. I'm looking up stuff. So one of the books that I picked up that's so good so far. I mean, y'all see all the other books I'm reading, right? But this one's called Good Food Revolution, right? And this is about a dude by the name of Will Allen, the CEO of Growing Power, that took a lot outside of Milwaukee, or somewhere in Milwaukee, and turned it into a sustainable, basically a sustainable garden. It's a pioneer urban farmer and MacArthur Genius Award winner. Shares the story of his grassroots movement that is changing the way our nation eats. The son of a sharecropper, Will Allen had no intention of ever becoming a farmer himself, but after years in professional basketball and an executive for KFC and Procter & Gamble, Will Allen cashed in his retirement fund for a 2-acre plot a half-mile away from Milwaukee's largest public housing project. The area was a food desert with only convenience stores and fast food restaurants to serve the needs of local residents. In the face of financial challenges and daunting odds, Allen built the country's preeminent urban farm, a food and educational center that now produces enough vegetables and fish year-round to feed thousands of people, employing young people from neighboring housing projects and community. Allen's organizations, Growing Power, has sought to prove how local food systems can help trouble youth, dismantle racism, create jobs, bring urban and rural communities closer together, and improve public health. Today, growing power helps develop community food systems across the country. So, those of you that be like, brother, I did, you can't watch. Watch, goddammit. Because I believe in research. If I didn't learn nothing else at Ohio State, goddammit, I learned how to use the library, right? Where all the lies are buried. So now, what we coming from today is this thing called sustainable revolution. Or if you block out the R's, sustainable evolution, right? Urban gardeners, seed-saving collectives, intentional communities, renewable energy innovators, and proponents of gift economies. How are these seemingly desperate groups connected? Based on common ethics of sustainability, sustainable cultures throughout history, the ecological design system of permaculture is the common thread that weaves them into a powerful, potentially revolutionary or evolutionary movement. Sustainable Revolution features photographs, interviews, and essays profiling 60 thriving community-based projects in diverse climates across the planet. 60, right? Now, I'm pulling this out because, one, I've seen some of I've been hearing permaculture, right? You know, as I've been doing the research on this gardening piece, permaculture, what is it? All right, what is permaculture, right? So let me go and get something on permaculture, and let's find out what permaculture is, right? With my glasses. So the first thing we do is, of course, look up this term permaculture. And permaculture is the development of agricultural ecosystems intended to be sustainable and self-sufficient, right? Agricultural ecosystems intended to be sustainable and self-sufficient. All right. So now, let's look at some of the tenets or the ideas behind they call them the principles of permaculture by Rachel Kaplan. One of the most important things about permaculture is that it's founded on a series of principles that can be applied to any circumstances. I'm reading from page 17 of the book. Agriculture, urban design, or the art of living. The core of the principles is the working relationship and connection between all things. The focus is on a small-scale, energy and labor-efficient, intensive system that uses biological resources instead of fossil fuels. Design stress ecological connections and closed loops of energy and material. A key to efficient design is observation and the replication of natural ecosystems, or ecosystems. In the city, permacultures make much use of the synergy of human energies and works to create generative connections between people. Pioneer permaculturists Bill Mollison and David Holmgren each articulated underlying principles for permacultures. Holmgrens are outlined here. The title and connected aphorisms are Holmgren's. The descriptions are my own understanding of the principles. Although humorously stated, the principles provide simple yet profound guidance for people interested in changing their actions and their lives with an eye towards regeneration. When you begin to embody these principles in all different aspects of your life, you can begin to step toward sustainability at a whole new level. Alright? So let's look at some of these. 1. Observe and interact. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Observing nature makes it possible to design made-to-fit solutions. An example is the gardener who allows to season the path before planting her garden, taking the time to observe the arc of the sun and the moon, the direction of the wind, the flow of the water, and the impact of neighbors on her garden. While our timing is urgent, it is more urgent to make intelligent choices within the limits of the ecological system that it is to move fast, as these more grounded choices have a better chance of sustaining life through difficult and abundant times. Within the problem lies the solution. Observing and interacting slows down the actions enough to allow us to meet a problem on its own terms and give rise to outside the box thinking. Observe and interact. That's rule number 1. Number 2, catch and store energy. Make hay while the sun shines. Develop systems that collect resources at times of peak abundance for use in times of need. A solar array catches and stores the sun energy for later use. A composting toilet, rather than flushing our excrement into the sea, composts it and turns it into fertilizer for our gardens. Contemplative practice like yoga and meditation catch personal energetic resources and store them up for another time. Y'all got it? Catch and store energy. Obtain a yield. You can't work on an empty stomach. Good work yields rewards. A garden is an excellent example. We till the soil, we sow the seeds, pull the weeds, manage the pests, harvest the food. The yield is good food, good work, beauty, and a sense of knowledge and relaxation in the environment. Children gain skills and knowledge in the garden for later production of their own food. We also see practical yields in our relationship. When we build communities in which we rely upon one another to help raise the children, the food, and the management of resources, the yield is a dynamic, interdependent relationship that we can sustain, that can sustain us throughout life and up to our deaths. So it's 12 of them. Apply self-regulation and accept feedback. The sins of the parents are visited on the children into the 7th generation. This is an important principle that encourages us to modify behaviors that do not work and enhance behaviors that support the function of the system. When you give feedback that something you're doing isn't working, don't spin off into defensiveness. Look at the feedback and integrate it to make your actions more effective. This reflects the maturation of consciousness. From adolescence to adulthood, our actions have consequences. The homeostasis of Earth as a single self-regulated system is the best example of this kind of self-regulation of feedback. Number 5, use and value renewable resources and services. Let nature take its course. Access the resources of nature to reduce excessive consumption and dependence on non-renewable sources. Solar power, wind power, intellectual power are all examples of renewable resources. Number 6, produce no waste. Waste not, want not. Nature produces no waste. Everything is food for someone. In permaculture, we value and make use of all available resources. Nature's best example of this principle is the earthworm, which lives by consuming plant waste and converting them into valuable soil. A compost pile is the garden's best example. Design from patterns to details. Can't see the woods for the trees. The patterns in society and nature can form the backbone of our design. Details arise from patterns. Consider the spider web. Each one designed to serve a specific function, yet each is unique in its location. The human body is another example of this principle. We're all built on the same model but have individual differences stemming from our experience, family life, and culture. With design solutions, as with people, one size does not fit all. Number 8, integrate rather than segregate. Many hands make light the work. Don't leave anyone behind. Put elements in the right place, and relationships of support will arise between them. In the human communities, segregation hurts everyone, but it most often places the burden of the least powerful member of the equation. Co-housing communities show how much can be accomplished when more people participate, and how much richer our human gardens are when populated by different kinds of people. The segregation of cities, and on the other hand, reflect the poverty of design and waste of human resources and potential. Another crucial concept embedded in this principle is the stacking function. Every element in a design doing more than one thing at a time. A chicken provides eggs, meat, and feathers, while she turns our kitchen scraps into nitrogen-rich fertilizer for our gardens. The chicken is popular because she does so many things at once. Some plants have stacking functions as well, offering pollination opportunities and providing food, medicine, and beauty. Built structures can have multiple functions. Greenhouses along the south side of a home access and store passive solar energy, and they are a place to both grow food and share meals. Stacking functions is an important concept at times when, like now, there simply is no more time to waste. Use small and slow solutions. Slow and steady wins the race. Small and slow systems are easier to maintain than big ones. Make better use of local resources and produce more sustainable outcomes. The snail in nature exemplar of this principle. Slow and steady, carrying its home wherever it goes. The snail is amazingly versatile and adaptable in a wide range of environments, and, as any gardener can tell you, a remarkably powerful creature. Use and value diversity. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversity provides insurance from the vagaries of nature and everyday life, reduces the vulnerability and utilizes the unique nature of its environment, and maintain and evolves culture and horticulture. Different food crops arise in different regions as an expression of cultural, aesthetic, spiritual, sentimental needs. Y'all hear that, right? The diversity brings quality and texture to living and shape the way people come to understand themselves. An aligned concept is that each function is supported by many elements, which is a fancy way of talking about plant redundancy. Different plants that have the same function provide security for one another. If any one of them fail, we still have access to the benefits of the other plants serving that function. Nature employs plant redundancies all the time. The design of our gardens and our cities should do the same. Use edges and value the marginal. Don't think you are on the right track just because it's a well-beaten path. The interface between diverse elements is where the most interesting events take place. These are often the most valuable, diverse, and productive elements in systems. Marginal subcultures are often the places where the most inventive, ingenious, and creative innovators take place. The long fight for food and environmental justice is impoverished communities of color, which predates the current urban homesteading movement by decades, is an example of this principle. Creatively use and respond to change. Vision is not seeing things as they are, but as they will be. Change is inevitable. We can have a positive impact on it by carefully observing and intervening at the right time. Evolutionary change impacts stability, while we need to create durable and natural living situation. Paradoxically, the durability we need depends on our capacity to be flexible and to change. This idea reflected in science and spirituality within the center of stillness is a vast, unending motion. We must learn to ride the rapids and change in our little paper canoes together. Alright, so now the tenets of permaculture, right? So now I want to read those. We'll come back, we'll discuss some of that later. I'm gonna read some more of the book, but I wanted to share that with you so that we could put some of that on your mind at this present time, so that we will have something to talk about. Because when it comes to talking about building culture, you know what I'm saying? Because I say I am a culture builder, right? But I have to make sure that what I'm building is sustainable, right? We don't want a one generational wonder, right? We don't want to work for one generation and then watch everything fall to the wayside, because that's what happens. We haven't been building sustainably. So whether we're talking about, because remember at one point in time I was talking about the Nyame, Nyame housing project, right? But now I'm thinking more along the lines of doing something like this, a sustainable community that we build, and we're able to sustain it, and we're able to produce almost everything that we need. And it's very possible because there's 60 other communities all over the world doing it. Right? So yo, this is Brother Tim saying peace, and I'm gonna say great Nia to you. I'm out because I'm about to read some more of these books. Peace. Thank you for watching the video. I want you to subscribe. Click the bird right there, the fiery bird. And I also have a special video just for you right there. And for those that want more information about Nyame Journey, go to our site. It should be right about there.